So you remember how I was saying that I wasn't going to upload for a while because I was working on a project with the spikes? It turns out that in the R&D I came up with a design a lot sooner than I had expected. Thank you all for tuning in. My name is Magnus, and today we're going to be looking at the very first shredder bug for whatever floats your boat. Now, this is pretty exciting, I'm not gonna lie. It's also incredibly cursed, and I have no doubt that somebody's going to find a way to get me banned from this game again because of how infuriating this thing is to deal with. But it is definitely worth it. So, without further ado, let's take a look at this shredder bug. We'll wait for the water to go down a little bit before I actually reveal it. But this thing is surprisingly simple. I was originally going with the idea of making a submarine for this, but it turns out it's a lot easier just to give it a plow and just use it that way. Now, some weaknesses with it is that it's not exactly fast. It's not fast at all actually, but it's pretty cool. So this is it. Looks very strange, but I'll explain it. So here's how the shredder bug setup works. And this is only Mark 1, by the way, but I was super impressed with its performance. It did most adequate, above all expectations. So here's what we've got. This first ice plate right here that I'm walking on, this serves two functions. One, this keeps me from flipping over, so this keeps me level and flat. And it's also providing all of the float for the entire build. This in the back here is not really doing much, except it is adding length to help with my turning up in the front so that way I can turn really fast because I have this much distance behind me. Obviously, these are the spikes. You may think it's a little odd why they are facing upwards, but what's going on here is so the water level is sitting about where my hat is. So you see how my hat is peeking up a little bit above this ice plate. So this ice plate is somewhat going underwater. Only my head is really above water whenever I'm sitting here. But the idea is that this is dragging under the water, and when I get up to a boat, the boat gets pushed up and it rests on top of here. And then, as I start sliding under it, the boat will go until it hits this point here where it will get stopped. Now, when the boat gets stopped and it's resting right here, it's right in line with these spikes, so I can start eating away at the bottom of the boat. Now, most people in the game do not armor the bottom side of the boats, and for good reason, because no one ever attacks the bottom of the boat, but also if you do armor the bottom of your boat, it drastically makes you slower. So because I have all of this, heavy duty steel and stuff going on, one of the weaknesses of this build is that it is not fast. But then again, this is only the first iteration, and I'm only showcasing this because I was amazed at how accurate, I was amazed at how well it performed. And it doesn't work with all builds, as we'll see, or it doesn't work against all boats, but I would say probably about 80% of the boats, unless they're top-down cannons or sky bases. If they're just regular boats, like we'll use this as the demonstration, you'll see that it actually does very good at destroying the boat. The other weakness is that I am very vulnerable, where I'm sitting right here. If they decide to attack me by shooting me, or more than likely with a sword, so I have to be careful. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to drive straight up into them, and then we're going to start erasing the bottom of the boat like this. It also helps to go from an angle too, like this is what we want, so he made a huge critical error by turning like he did. So we're just going to turn out a little bit, and what we want to do is we want to turn around, and we want to try and drive into them if we can. So you'll see that I have the armor sitting just a little bit higher to try and protect me as much as I can. This is starting to get annoying. Let's see if I can't catch up with him though. He's bound to make a mistake at some point. We might go for that guy on the platform there next. In the next iteration, I plan on increasing the speed of the build. So that's what we'll be doing. Yeah, see, that was a huge mistake for him. So now we can just go around and start deleting the bottom of his boat. And we just continue doing this. There we go. And now I would say he's pretty safe to deal with. So there's this guy. There we go. Destroyed him. We're going to go back to this guy because he's pretty vulnerable now. So we'll just finish him off right quick. Here we are. See, he's much lower now. It is unfortunate that I'm taking health damage here, but you know, it is what it is. I bet you I can do it, get him this way maybe. So I think one of the things I'm going to really work on is adjusting my wedge. Okay, there we go. There we go. Alright, I think I got him now. There we go. Now we're going to turn around and make one last pass. Or attempt to make another pass, since now they're marooned. And there you have it. So as you can see, it's got a few bugs that ain't been worked out, but in the grand scheme of things, it is very successful. Just look at the damage that we did to this one boat. And granted, they were running away from me, but when you get these big builds like this one here, which honestly, we might go for this one next, or better yet, that one, you can really see how good it is. So this thing has a specific role. It's not really meant for kills. This thing is meant for immobilizing boats. Damage over time type stuff. Not for kills, but for really annoying people. And I have to say, I'm quite pleased with it. I think that this might, or I'm pretty sure that this is the first of its kind. For those who are or are not familiar with Plane Crazy, they have what's called a shredder bug in Plane Crazy that is absolutely annoying. I feel like with a few more prototypes of this concept made, I think this could be a very annoying and very destructive build. So, anyways, that's all I have. Feel free to leave the video if you want to. I'm going to stick around and leave the video running for just a little bit longer for this next wave because I want to try and get a bigger platform boat. And we're just going to see what happens. But it's like I'm saying, so here's the changes that I'm planning on making to this. 1, getting the sea armored. 2, making this more shallow and not as steep of an angle because this is really hurting me right now. 3 is going to be making this a shallow thing too. 4, I might look at adding more spikes, but as it sits now, you're only really able to fire 3 at a time, which is kind of unfortunate, but you can stack the other spikes along the sides of these. If there is a way, I want to try and get some more speed into this. It definitely needs to be faster because that's killing it right now. Other than that, it's pretty solid as it sits, but it's just going to be a matter of changing the angle at which this is sloped and increasing its speed. I think making it less buoyant will be a good thing too, because you don't want it to float a whole lot. You want to actually sink underneath people. You want, whenever you run into their boats, you want to go under there. So that's the point of this build. So like, I'll demonstrate again. Now that would be a lot of fun to mess with, but we'll go with this one for now. So we're just going to go under it. We're pretty protected under here. We're just going to park ourselves underneath and start going to town eating away at their boat. And see, it's really hard to shoot this thing when you literally just... See? Really hard to shoot at this thing whenever it's on top of you. I mean, not on top of you, underneath you. It's really hard to deal with. This is another good build too. So you see a lot of people who do this. This should be easy to destroy. We just need to get underneath them. So we'll work our way underneath them if I can. I might need a headbutt into him, but what's throwing me off right now is my wedge is too big with his, let's outsteer him by a lot. Or he can just despawn, that's fine too. What is this? I see. So somebody's building a boat trap. Well, may as well... Ooh, okay. There's a lot of good targets right now. I'm gonna target this thing. Or he can just despawn it again, okay. So we're under. Let's start working on his underside. This build is a little interesting. There we go. So we'll just start working our way through. Trying to get under this thing. Don't want to get stuck on that, so let's back up a little bit. Never mind, I am stuck. We're going to have to bail to get some breath. Get some breath. I'm going to attempt this again. There we go. I got her out. Okay, let's go after something with less heat right now. This one's good. We'll go after this right quick. But yeah, I think this has a lot of potential to be really good because it is very powerful being able to attack from the underside. A lot of people do not expect this. But yeah, it's got some things that need to be worked out, but it's pretty good. It has a lot of potential. It really does. So, anyways, that's all the time I have for now. I hope y'all get some crazy ideas out of this, and I will see y'all in the next video whenever I end up uploading again. Alright, bye.